The crowd is already buzzing, and she hasn't even stepped on court yet. Imagine walking into the design center in Linz knowing exactly what's waiting for you. A loaded 28-player draw. Former champions everywhere. A brand new surface under your feet. And the pressure of an entire nation watching your every move. That is the reality Eala is stepping into. And make no mistake, this is not just another tournament appearance. This is a statement opportunity. Because when Eala arrives in Linz, she won't just be facing another ordinary WTA field. She'll be entering a high-stakes battleground packed with champions, proven clay court threats, and players who know exactly how to punish even the smallest hesitation. At the center of all of it is a 20-year-old Filipino star carrying momentum, expectation, and one massive question. Can she turn her breakthrough season into an all-surface rise? That's what makes this story so compelling. The Upper Austria Ladies Linz Open is not short on star power. Defending champion Ekaterina Alexandrova is back. Former champion Jelena Ostapenko is in the mix. These are players with experience, titles, and the kind of presence that can shake a draw before the first ball is struck. And yet, one of the biggest names generating attention heading into the tournament is Eala. Not because of past titles in Linz. Not because of years of clay court dominance, but because she has become one of the most watched young players on the WTA Tour, and because her rise is happening so fast that every new tournament now feels like the next chapter in something much bigger. Just days ago, Eala was still processing the end of her Miami campaign, a run that elevated her profile, strengthened her ranking, and confirmed what many fans already believed. She belongs on this stage. That Miami swing did more than just move numbers in the rankings. It changed perception. Eala is no longer being talked about as a future possibility. She's being discussed as a real threat right now. And instead of taking time to sit on that breakthrough, she made a rapid shift. Hard court to clay. Emotion to execution. Setback to preparation. Fresh training clips from the Rafa Nadal Academy showed her back to work almost immediately, grinding through long rallies on indoor red clay, the very kind of surface she'll be dealing with in Linz. That detail matters. This wasn't random off-season training. This was specific, deliberate preparation for a very specific challenge. That tells you everything about her mindset. Because the transition she's making is not an easy one. Clay is demanding. Indoor clay introduces its own rhythm. Timing changes. Movement changes. Point construction changes. The margin for error changes. And when you're stepping into a WTA 500 event against battle-tested opponents, you don't get time to slowly figure it out. You either adapt fast or you get exposed. And Linz is the kind of tournament that exposes everything. This is not a soft landing spot. This is not a tune-up event where a young player can quietly work her way into a new surface without much pressure. Ranking points matter here. Matchups matter here. And the draw could throw Eala straight into danger almost immediately. That's what makes this such a fascinating moment. On one side, you have Alexandrova, the defending champion, a player who already knows how to win in these conditions and understands exactly what this tournament demands. On the other side, you have Ostapenko, one of the most explosive ball strikers in women's tennis, capable of ripping through an opponent's rhythm before they've had time to settle. And in the middle of that storm is Eala, projected as a top seed in the field, but still entering with questions around the surface transition
on our Cadillac desk. Congratulations.
That's
win a comeback for
but
you.
it's also
She's a tricky
opportunity,
player. What
because the thing
solutions
about
were you able to find?
Is that the story
I think
keeps repeating itself.
I had to be patient.
Every time the doubts get louder,
match was so long,
the response
I lost my
gets
voice.
stronger. At every level
I think
of her
patience
rise,
was key,
there has been a familiar pattern.
waiting for the right
People
moment.
question whether she's ready. She prepares.
Yeah, patience.
Then she delivers.
We'll be patient with you.
First it was at the
some
smaller
really
events.
long games,
Then
Alex.
it was bigger stages.
What are you looking to do?
Then
How do you
it
stay
became
focused
deeper runs,
when it's going
stronger
do
opponents,
set
and
for
more
so long?
attention. And each time,
I think just
instead of
focusing on the
shrinking
next
under the
point,
weight of expectation, she
and
has
it
grown
could go
into
either
it.
way, so
That's
the
why
tension never
so
really
many fans
releases,
are locked
you
in
know.
right now.
And,
For the people
one
who have
point
followed
could
her
change
journey
everything,
closely,
so I think that
Linz
kept me
is
going.
not just
Talk about
one
the tension
tournament.
never releasing. At the
It's
end of
about
every
what this
match,
tournament
you have
represents.
so much passion.
It's about
I don't
proving
know
that
we
the
see that
hardcourt
from everybody. We see it
success
from
was
Rafa
not
back
a
in the day.
one-surface
Were you
burst.
like that in juniors?
It's about showing that
were you
what
that
happened in
emotional after every
Miami
win?
was not a temporary spike. It's about confirming that Eala's rise is not limited by conditions, format, or location. If she can carry that level onto clay, the conversation changes again. And maybe that's the biggest reason why the noise around this event feels different. It's not casual hype. It's not random excitement. It's belief. Across Filipino social media, support for Eala has surged once again. Fans are dissecting every training clip, every practice reel, every update from Mallorca. Major outlets are covering her movement into clay season with the kind of urgency usually reserved for quarterfinals and title matches. That kind of attention is rare. That kind of emotional investment is even rarer. Because when Eala steps onto a court, she is not just representing herself. She's carrying the hopes of millions of Filipinos who see in her something much bigger than a tennis prospect. They see history. They see possibility. They see someone pushing into territory that very few from their country have ever reached in this sport. And that changes the emotional temperature of every match. Most players in this field will feel pressure from rankings, expectations, and competition. But not everyone walks into a tournament knowing an entire nation is watching every point, every hold of serve, every break chance, every reaction. Eala does. And somehow, that pressure has started to look like fuel. What's especially impressive is how quickly she has moved on from disappointment. Because, let's not forget, her last competitive match ended in a painful loss. A heavy one. The kind of scoreline players don't forget quickly. For many young athletes, a defeat like that can linger. It can affect confidence. It can slow momentum. It can create hesitation right when the next big opportunity arrives. But Eala's response was different. She didn't disappear. She didn't make excuses. She didn't drift into silence. Instead, she went back to work. And that is what gives this Linz debut real intrigue. The footage from the Nadal Academy is more than training content. It's evidence of intent. Long rallies, repetition, movement patterns, surface adjustment,
point building.
This is a player, actively solving the next challenge in front of her. There's something powerful about that. Because the best responses in sport usually don't come through words. They come through action, through discipline, through choosing preparation when frustration would be easier, through deciding that the last loss will not define the next chapter. That's exactly the energy Eala is bringing into Linz. And if you zoom out, this tournament sits in a very important place on the calendar. Linz is not happening in isolation. It sits at the front edge of the European clay court run, the stretch that leads into bigger and more prestigious stops, tournaments that shape rankings, confidence, and momentum heading toward Roland Garros. That means what happens here could echo far beyond 1 week in Austria. A strong run could stabilize her position among the most dangerous rising players on tour. A quarterfinal appearance could strengthen her standing heading deeper into clay season. A semi-final run could send an even louder message that Eala is not just arriving, she is accelerating. And that matters not only for rankings but for perception. Because once you start winning on clay, especially against experienced names, people stop viewing you as a specialist or a one-surface story. They start seeing you as something far more dangerous, a complete player in progress. That is the threshold Eala is approaching. And this is why tournament organizers, broadcasters, and fans alike are paying attention. Eala is now a draw in her own right. She creates viewership. She creates headlines. She creates emotional investment. She brings a market, a fan base, and a storyline that expands beyond tennis circles. That kind of pull matters. When a player's name starts appearing alongside former champions in tournament previews, it tells you something. It tells you the sport no longer sees her as a novelty. It sees her as relevant. It sees her as a factor. It sees her as someone audiences care about now, not later. That's a huge shift. And yet, all of that attention brings us back to the same question. How will her game translate when the matches begin? Clay tests patience. It tests balance. It tests footwork, timing, and emotional endurance. It forces players to construct points differently. It rewards discipline and punishes panic. Against experienced opponents, especially former champions, every weakness gets probed. So for Eala, This debut is about more than fearless shot-making. It's about problem-solving. Can she defend longer? Can she reset after tough points? Can she trust her patterns on a slower surface? Can she stay composed if an early round becomes physical, tactical, and uncomfortable? Those answers will decide everything. But if there's one reason fans remain confident, it's because Eala has already shown she knows how to grow fast. Her trajectory has not been random. It has been layered, title by title, breakthrough by breakthrough, match by match. Every step has built toward moments like this. And now she gets another one, another test, another spotlight, another opportunity to prove that her rise is not slowing down. So no, Eala is not walking into Linz just hoping to survive the draw. She is walking in prepared. She is walking in with momentum. She is walking in with the backing of millions. And she is walking into one of the most important proving grounds of her season. That's why this tournament feels bigger than a standard WTA 500. Because if she handles this transition well, if she competes hard, if she settles quickly, if she pushes through the early danger, the message will be impossible to ignore. It will say that Eala's game is expanding. It will say that the breakthrough is becoming a pattern. And it will say that the next stage of her rise may be happening faster than anyone expected. The field is strong. The surface is unfamiliar. The champions are waiting. But so is the opportunity. Can Eala shock the proven names in Linz and announce herself as a real threat on clay? Can she turn rapid preparation into a deep run? Can she take the energy from Miami, the lessons from defeat, and the support of an entire country and transform all of it into another breakthrough moment? We're about to find out, because this is where the clay chapter begins. And if you've been following her journey from the start, then you already know something important about Eala. When the spotlight gets brighter, the story usually gets better. So keep your eyes on Linz. This next performance might not just shape her week. It could reshape the entire conversation around her season. If you want, I can also do either of these next. Turn this into a more viral YouTube script style with stronger hooks and retention moments every 20 to 30 seconds, or make it into a pure faceless channel voiceover script with shorter, punchier lines for easier narration. Turn this into a more viral YouTube script with a stronger hook, pattern interrupts every 20 to 30 seconds, and higher audience retention for an 11 to 12-minute video. Rewrite this as a pure faceless channel voiceover script with shorter punchy lines, simple narration flow, and no repetitive phrasing.